Do you like researching things? I like researching things. But on the internet, not everything is equally to be trusted when it comes to trying to find the right information, so I thought I'd talk about it. As like a quick aside, reputability changes based on domain, because only certain end domains are allotted to certain things. .coms were originally for commercial businesses to put their advertisements online, to make their own websites and stuff. But since then, it's become an open domain for anyone with money to access one. So .coms can pretty much be anybody saying anything with no need to prove a specific level of knowledge in it. So I'd say .coms are the least reliable. .org usually is some sort of organization, generally, typically nonprofits, charities, things of that nature, things that are more reputable, but could potentially either be a little biased or just not have super extensive proof that what they're talking about is true, even though they're generally trusted sites. And .gov are obviously government websites, technically most likely the most reputable domain, depending on whatever the context is. Those are the ones that are pretty verified, the government standards at least. But when it comes to scientific articles, you're going to want to find something that kind of has this domain. It's a long one, and that's the short way to find a scientific research article. But all scientific research articles actually have a specific format, which is how you look for them, and not necessarily this giant thing. A peer-reviewed research article is an article where one person has become an expert on something, studied it, like scientific method-wise, manipulated the environment to see if X affects Y in Z way, and that research is passed on to another group of experts that have pretty much done the same thing, who interrogate it for things like quality, how good is the research, how much research has been done, the accuracy, which basically tells people how far they are from the right answer based on specific evidence and data, and reliability. Can someone replicate this? Does this measure what it is supposed to measure? Well, that's veritability, but still. The point is, it's an article by an expert that's been looked at by other experts in order to see if this research is veritable upon, further inspection. There are 4 sections of a peer-reviewed article. First is the introduction, and the introduction is actually important because it doesn't just tell you about the topic, it also tells you about other people that have done research on the same topic or similar topics and what they found out. It also tells you why the experiment is happening, whether it's because there's not enough research about this thing, because it's something new, because no one's looked at the cross between this and this other thing before. And it also lets you know, based on past research, we want to see what's new about this topic or what we can glean from combining 2 things that no one's seen before. So it lets you know from the outset how reliable the data is, because this experiment isn't coming from nowhere, it's coming from the backs of other researchers that have looked at the same thing. There's the methods, which is this is exactly what we did, when, with this many people, how many people we tried to get to do the experiment, how many people ended up doing the experiment, what the demographics are, population of men to women to background, things of that nature. It says this is exactly how we manipulated the environment, and these are the exact results that we tried to measure. And that leads you into the results section, which basically says this is what we tried to measure, and then these are our results. This is where you're going to get data tables, you're going to get graphs of increase of something over time or decrease of something over time, and they'll say this is what this would suggest. So if before manipulating the environment, the data looked like this, and after manipulating the environment, the data looked like this implies a change, or it stayed the same, so this implies no change. And the discussion, which is a more layman's interpretation of the results that say, according to this, X affects Y in this kind of way, and this is how we made sure that that is as accurate as possible, that we measured what we measured as accurately as possible, and these are the reasons why, well, maybe these certain things could have affected the study, even though we tried as hard as we could to make sure nothing else would. And the discussion also says, like, you can use this as a reference to this, this, and this, and if you're thinking about doing research on this topic, you should think about this, this, and this. So that's kind of what the discussion section has to offer. The reason peer-reviewed articles are generally held as so reliable is because it goes through a ton of checks. You need to meet so much criteria and actually defend your idea to like a panel of people in order to get your article published in the first place. So the requirements are so stringent that it feels reliable because it's gone through a lot of checks, as well as the fact that this information is also based off of past data. So it's not people doing the same thing over and over and over again, although people sometimes need to replicate a study to say, yes, this is replicable and I know because I did it and here's my evidence. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does help people to create new research, trusting that the old research was verifiable. There are obviously problems in the research department. You know, people will flood data, people will hack data. Generally speaking, other people will find it, call it, will look back at older studies and be like, they shouldn't have done that, they shouldn't have done this is good and this is not good, and so on. So yeah, you can get like a really brief overview of what an article talks about to decide if you want to read the whole thing, because they'll have abstracts that basically sum up the whole thing. And so they're really great, reliable pieces of information if you're ever trying to do your own research on a subject or get the most accurate research that you can about it. When you're doing your own research, you might find that while you're reading, you're seeing little parentheses with numbers along a lot of the sentences. These are always footnotes that will lead you to the reference that the article is taking from, and it shows you all of the articles that the study you're reading will be using in order to determine what its research purpose will be. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick thing in case, I don't know, you want to do your own research, or if you're trying to decide if something is veritable or not. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.